Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy Show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program, folks. Let's try it again. Welcome to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, if it's live, it's not an accident. I meant to screw that up. What's going on? Hope you guys are doing great. This is Tom Clark's Main Event. I'm your host, the aforementioned Tom Clark. This is episode number 185. Holy cow. We're going to get to 200 episodes this year. Pretty freaking cool, huh? Hope everybody out there is having a great day. Happy Friday to you, one and all. If you're listening to this show after the fact, just remember you're missing the live broadcast that happens almost every week right here on Wrestling Rumors Facebook Live. We want to thank everyone for joining us here, of course, and for coming back each and every week. Yes, I am the guy. I'm the man. I am your host, the one and only. I take that back. There's a bunch of other Tom Clarks, but I may be the only Tom Clark that you know. So there, what's up? The regular folks are checking in so far today. Shane, Sandy, what's going on? Brendan, let's see. Joseph, how are you, my friend? Brad in Minnesota, go Vikes. Got to say it every time. You know I do. Mark, what's going on? Miss Lopez, what's up? Hello, Belinda. It is Friday, as we said before. I'm watching the replay of NXT for the second time because I had to see the match with Cameron Grimes and Damian Priest because it's really, really fun. We're going to get into that. So patience. We'll get there. I promise you. David says, I know I'm hooked if I'm watching this show while I'm shopping. Hey, man, this is where the cool kids hang out, David. You're in the right place at the right time, man. So there you go. If you are watching this show today for the first time and you are a Wrestling Rumors enthusiast here on the Facebook, or on the YouTube, because we're broadcasting live on YouTube today as well. Welcome. Thanks for checking us out. My name's Tom, of course, and I've been doing this show for 7 years this year. Number 185 will hit 200 this year and beyond. Pretty cool, huh? I dig it. I love it. Been doing it for a long time. So going to continue to do it for as long as you guys will have me, for as long as the page will have me. And even after that, I will be doing it regardless of where I broadcast at. But for right now, as far as we know, we're always going to be right here. So there you go. We got bunches of stuff to talk about today, bunches of things to get into, all sorts of information and that kind of thing. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. For your New Japan fans, they're leading the charge this week. We had a huge weekend this past weekend in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Evil turns on LIJ, Los Ingobernables de Japón. He has joined the Bullet Club. Not only has he joined it, he apparently is the new leader. He becomes the new IWGP Heavyweight and IWGP Intercontinental Champion in the process, defeating Tetsuya Naito, his former boss, his former LIJ stablemate. So yes, Evil is the man. Evil beat Okada. Wow, and beat Tetsuya Naito. I mean, that's a big deal. If you are a New Japan fan, you know that's a big deal, man. It's not something that happens every day. Something happens very, very slim to none, to be honest with you. Those two victories back-to-back are a statement by New Japan Pro Wrestling. Their statement is, hey, this is our guy. We're going with him. Like it, love it, hate it. So, yeah. Let me preface that with this. I like Evil. I like his work. I thought he and Sonata were a fine tag team. I liked him as part of LIJ. He has not sold me on being the Bullet Club guy yet. Does that mean he can't? No. Does it mean I hate this? No. Does it mean I thought that maybe he and Naito went too long? Yeah, I've read reviews like that. It did, if I'm being honest, feel as though it was being stretched for the sake of being stretched. There's this idea, and it's not just New Japan, but it's in WWE, AEW, and other companies as well. This idea that for it to be a classic match, for it to be a changing of the guard, for it to be a crowning of a new champion, whatever, the higher the stakes, the longer the match has to be, which is not necessarily the case. It doesn't necessarily need to be a 38-minute match. Honestly, I think it just needs to get the point across. I think it needs to be plenty of action. more actions than rest holds. In this day and age, people want the flip flop and fly, and I totally get that. It's a different audience for different time, different era. But for me personally, I like a mixture of both. I don't know if I got that mixture, if I'm being totally honest with you. So let's see. Mark says being Okada is a ridiculous feat for anybody. I totally agree. I still maintain Kazuchika Okada is the best in the world. It's just how I feel, folks. Robbie says, hey, it's your boy Rob. Thanks for bringing the show. Yes, sir. Thank you for watching. Michael says, I've been messy for a little bit, but Nia Jax put me on the shelf for a little while. Well done, Michael. Shut up. It's fun. We tease. But yeah, she's dangerous in the ring. So yeah, get her out of the ring. I think bottom line here is get her out of the ring. So yeah, thank you, Michael, for that. That was fun. So what do you guys think about the New Japan deal? Brad says, I personally love the idea. It was a complete shock. Evil rocks. I will give you this. Gato, who is still the head booker of New Japan, tends to know things that maybe we don't know. Gato doesn't look at tomorrow. Gato looks at 12 months out. They book that company 12 months out, which I guess you can say could be a drawback to a certain extent, but you always have to have a plan B just in case things don't work out, yes? But for the most part, it's worked out pretty darn well for New Japan. I mean, am I wrong? It's worked out pretty well. They saw something in Okada that maybe the rest of the world didn't see. Who could have imagined Hiroshi Tanahashi being the ace of New Japan? Who could have thought that he would bring business back the way he did? They saw it. So what's your thoughts on that? Do they see something in Evil? Or playing devil's advocate here, Evil after all, yes. Is this a knee-jerk reaction to the COVID situation? To the abbreviated season, as it were, to no fans, to no events till very recently. I mean, is it a knee-jerk reaction? Is it something they're just doing, off by the seat of their pants? Danny says all promotions need to have their top guys to find out who is the real best in the world really is. I can answer that, Danny. It's Okada. There you go. So, Belinda, we'll get to Taz, I promise you. We covered that Wednesday night after Fight for the Fallen / AW Dynamite went off the air. So, Darlene, we will get to Seth and Ray. I promise you. It's in the show. Sandy says, I love that background. Thanks, man. I got the new Fender Squire bass right there behind me. So, DeMarco, what's up, bro? Thanks for hanging out, man. James says NJPW doesn't need to do belt swaps as much. Can I be honest with you? They don't really. I mean, when's the last? Yeah, they did Naito, but that was back at Wrestle Kingdom, right? So, I don't know. I kind of get where you're coming from, but I don't think they're really guilty of that too awful much. The United States Championship has switched a few times. Intercontinental, not really. Tag team, not really. I mean, they're not as guilty as other companies, but I get your point. You don't want to do it too much because it makes the title changes, the title runs, meaningless. You know what I mean? So, no, Danny, we know Okada's best in the world. Knock it off. I tease, Danny. But Okada's best in the world. Knock it off. So, let's see. Mark says, does Adam Cole get a main roster move? It could very well happen for sure. The other Mark says, we got a bunch of Marks. Get it? It's a joke. The eye for an eye is a silly idea with Seth Ray. Oh, brother, we're going to get there, and I'm going to tear it up. That's going to be fun. Never you fear. Shane says NWA Wrestling is at a crossroads. Rumors are swirling about them closing shop. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope for everyone involved it does not happen. Hello, William in Illinois. Tom in North Carolina here. So Brad says, I think they had to do something different. That's why they chose Evil. There you go. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. I'm curious. I'm a huge New Japan fan if you guys haven't figured that out. I just love so many of their talents. Guys who maybe wouldn't be getting a chance before are getting a chance. Hiromu is getting a chance. Takahashi, New Japan Junior Heavyweight Champion. Takahashi is very, a lot of people love him. So, I don't really mind that too much. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm scanning my brain right now for the upcoming shows, and I don't have them in front of me, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So, yeah. Christopher always asks me about Kelly Klein. Nothing to report, my friend. So, yeah. I think when Vince watered down the Bullet Club and did the OC, it was kind of like Vince trying to write the coattails of people that created the Bullet Club idea. I think it was Vince trying to put his own stamp on it. So, there you go. What's up, Douglas? I'm indifferent to Vicky being in AEW. I like her personally. I don't know that she's needed. I just know there's a whole bunch of managers in that company. Again, not against it, but I think they have to provide enough screen time for all these managers, for everyone involved. And that may end up being a tall order. Or I could eat my words and it ends up being great. At any given time during the territory era, there was a lot of managers on TV, depending on what promotion you're talking about. It's not that it can't be juggled, but it's a different area, different time. I personally am in the bag for managers, always have been, always will be. I dig it. It's totally fine with me. We'll just see how it goes moving forward. All right, James, we'll wrap up the New Japan with this. Who would you love to see in NJPW? Well, if you're going to ask me that question, then you start asking me about dream matches. Who would I like to see face Tana and Okada and Naito? That's a good one, man. That's a great one. I mean, AJ's already been there. He's already faced the greats, right? That's a good question, man. I'm trying to think of who outside the company right now I'd love to see. I'd love to see Keith Lee in New Japan. I think that'd be great. Honestly, I think just imagine Keith Lee. God, who would we put Keith Lee against in New Japan? Togi Makabe, maybe? That'd be something. Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question, man. I love Keith Lee, by the way. I think he's fantastic. I mean, I've always thought he's fantastic. So, Tomohiro Ishii. There's your dream match, folks. Keith Lee versus Ishii. Shut up, by the way. Holy cow. So, what's up, Timothy? Thanks for tuning in. All right. So, Christopher says AW needs to go 3 hours. Brother, I disagree with your sentiment. I'm not against it, but we see what happens when pro wrestling shows go 3 hours. Let's just be honest about it. It doesn't always work out in the end. Not to say they couldn't pull it off, but, it would have to be, I don't know. It's a lot of content, a lot of time to fill. Speaking of AEW, speaking of NXT, let's talk about it. The results from the Wednesday Night Wars. Yes, we the fans call it that. It is what it is. Take or leave. It's totally okay with me. AEW came in at 788,000 viewers. NXT was 631,000 viewers. And AEW more than doubled the demographic from 18 to 49, which Jericho was on Fight for the Fallen bragging about. So it turns out he didn't eat his words after all, at least not this week, right? How do you feel about that? Jericho being braggadocious as only he can be online, on Twitter specifically, and saying whatever he's saying about being the top dog, the top draw, the top company around. Folks, you have to know that part of this is just for fun. Part of this is, yeah, he really kind of means it like big time, okay? But listen, don't get too bent twisted out of this. No one said AEW is going to overthrow WWE. No one said they're on the same level. People take this stuff way out of context, and they say all kinds of things that just make me laugh. I just don't ever understand it. I never understand it. No one is saying AEW is going to replace WWE. Folks, that will never happen. I will tell you this. The biggest corporations, 9 times out of 10, are not taken down by anyone else or a competitor. They implode from within. WWE eventually one day will reach a point of critical mass, and either they will fall or they will change. It doesn't mean I want to see it. Please don't misunderstand me. I don't want to see any pro wrestling company close up. I don't. I'm just being straight with you. But is WWE even going to be around 20 years from now? I have no idea. But no one's suggesting AEW is going to take anyone's thunder from anyone else. Hello, Shannon. What's going on? Sandy says, I want both shows to succeed. I couldn't agree more with that. Douglas says, will Undisputed Era go to SmackDown or Raw? Stay, Douglas. The UE needs to stay in NXT. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. Too late. You can't. Dude, listen. So NXT, in a lot of ways, in my humble opinion, take this or leave it. How many of you folks are old enough to remember when MTV was actually a music channel and played not just hip hop but rock, hair metal, hip hop, rap, a little bit of everything at that time, and they actually played a little bit of music. Remember those days? Those were fun days. Okay, Yo MTV Raps. I was a fan. I like the hair metal stuff, some of it. I like the heavy metal stuff for sure, and I like the rock and roll. NXT is MTV in the past. WWE's main roster is MTV now. Okay? They're trying to cater to a bunch of different people, trying to make a bunch of different people happy. They have their own agendas to push. It's not always about the wrestling. They tell you it is. It's not always that. It's not always the case. There might be a better analogy, but it's what I got right now, and it's what makes the most sense to me. So there you go. Let's see. Carlos says that the problem that I have with some of these companies is that some of them are not on my TV and are online. I don't have time to be online all day. But Carlos, you know what that goes back to, brother? That goes back to how bad do you want to watch this wrestling? If going online is too much for you, then you're stuck with cable TV. Brother, if that's your jam, go with God. It's totally fine with me. I have no issue with how you want to watch your wrestling. With me, I want to consume as much as possible. I just like to watch as much as I can get my hands on. I don't love all of it, but I like to watch as much as possible because that's where I'm coming from. And yeah, no, I don't have time to be online all day either, but I make time for the stuff I love to watch. And I enjoy watching New Japan. I enjoy watching AEW, and I enjoy watching companies that are not on TV. That's me. That's me. And, you know, I get where you're coming from. I can't argue your point. James says, do you think John Cena would wrestle anyone else? The answer is no. I don't. Yep. Brandon says, talking about the Orange Jericho feud. We'll get there, my friend. No worries. Let's see. Rob says, I agree that no one can ever throw WWE. AEW is proven to be a solid number 2 behind Impact, ROH, and NWA. Well, you could say that they're all behind AEW. AEW is not behind them. AEW is the number 2 in this country. If you want to talk about the business as a whole, in my opinion, New Japan is number 2. But that's a up and down battle, dude. That's opinion, right? Douglas, brother, have you watched before? Thank you for popping up and interacting, man. I appreciate you. Heard rumors of UE going to Raw to have a storyline with Seth Rollins. That'd be interesting. Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins. But here's the deal, Douglas. Thank you for that. Undisputed Era much better as heels. And so right now, Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins likes to hear himself talk, and they like to hear him talk too because he talks all the time. Seth just drones on and on and on. I like Seth. Don't misunderstand me, but holy cow, dude. Seth is, it's this whole, savior of WWE, savior of Raw stuff, the Messiah, whatever it is they call him. Yikes. I mean, the promos, dude. All right, for a guy that came up supposedly under Triple H's wing as a heel when he split from the Shield, he's become Triple H in a lot of ways because he just cannot stop talking. Difference between him and Hunter is a lot of Hunter's promos were freaking awesome. And Seth's, all due respect, a lot of them are not awesome. That's my own take, dude. My own take. Alma says, Bobby Fulton Fish retired from in-ring competition. Yes, ma'am, he sure did. In there for a long time. Hi from Chris Huffman. Hello to Chris Huffman from Tom Clark. Who's going to win Swap Match Extreme Wheel Sunday? We're going to get there, Chris. Hold on. Don't split. Don't go anywhere. You're in the right place, baby. We'll get there. Michael says, I really like AEW. I just wish they would stop with all the stabs at WWE. But that comes with the territory. If the roles were reversed, WWE would be taking shots at them. They have taken shots at them. I get where you're coming from on that. I totally get it. I don't know, dude. I respect your opinion, but I'm okay with it, honestly. Shane says, do you think Sonny Kiss, the 2020 version of Exotic Adrian Street? Kids, thank you, Shane. Shane, you're my old school guy. You know that. Kids, if you don't know Exotic Adrian Street, do yourself a favor. As soon as you stop watching the show, go to the YouTube and YouTube that sucker. Fantastic. Exotic Adrian Street, Fantastic. Did I mention? Fantastic. I love him. Always loved him. Will always love him. One of the best gimmicks of all time. In the top 10 best gimmicks of all time was Exotic Adrian Street. Fantastic. Knew who he was, knew what he could do, was comfortable in his own skin, didn't mind putting himself out there. Here's the deal. Street was a gimmick. Sonny Kiss is not a gimmick. Sonny is, his voice is a lot higher than it was when he first came to AEW. Okay? So there's some stuff going on. He identifies as a he and a she. That's not Adrian Street. To my knowledge, Adrian Street was actually married to Miss Linda, his valet. I believe I'm pretty sure they're married. That's a gimmick. He lived it, and he was awesome at it. But this isn't really a gimmick for Sonny. Sonny is who he is, and he's not tweaking himself to portray a certain character. He is who he is. I get where you're coming from, and I respect your question. I don't know if I agree with you, but I get where you're coming from. Danny says, "Is Austin Theory hurt? Perhaps. Yeah. Not really sure right now. He has sort of fallen off the face of the earth, man." James says Street was ahead of his time. Thank you, sir. 100%. Sandy says, "What don't you like about it?" Sandy, what are you asking me? What I don't like about it? Be specific, man. Mark says, "I don't even watch Impact anymore. I was a big fan, got tired of them moving." Yeah, I get where you're coming from. As I've said before, I have covered Impact before, and dude, I got nothing. I just didn't. I gave up on it as well. Glenn says, "What would you think about James Storm going to WWE?" I think he went to NXT and didn't like the deal they gave him. It wasn't working, so he split. I think never say never, Belinda. I'd love to see him get national exposure on a good show, not on a show that sucks. Hey, look, my opinion. Some of you guys might hate AEW and hate New Japan and love WWE. It's all good with me, baby. Totally all good with me. Sandy, no CM Punk news. Don't have a coronary, my friend. I promise you, if I get any CM Punk news, you'll be the first one to hear about it. Trust me, it'll be on the banners, baby. Because he's a newsworthy guy. Always has been. James says, "Can you see Sasha Banks win the Raw Women's title?" Sure, why not? I thought she would have done long before now. Her and Bayley are riding high as the two women's champions. So, let's see. What would you like to see happen with Darby Allin? So Chad, thank you for that. Darby is growing on me for sure. Michael says AJ's interest music was supposed to be Storm's music. Interesting. I didn't know that. Nice little factoid, Michael. To answer your question, excuse me, Chad. I like Darby a lot. I didn't. Darby weighs like 30 pounds, so he can wear it with a brick in his pocket. It's hard. Pro wrestling is hard enough as it is, unless you're a diehard fan. If you're a casual fan, you're asking people to spend money to drive from their house to go to attend the live show, or at least you used to. And if not, you're asking them to sit on their couch for an hour plus and suspend their disbelief for a period of time in which they are told to believe that what's going on camera, on the TV in front of them, is real. They know it's not, but there has to be enough suspension of disbelief that the fans, or the viewers, I should say, are buying in and don't look at each other and go, "This is crap." You see what I'm saying? There's enough of that already. When you put a guy Darby size out there and ask me to believe that a man 250 pounds, let alone Brian Cage, is going to feel something that little guy does to him, that's a tall order. Having said all that, Darby does pretty well at making me believe. Not the best, not perfect, but none of them are. I like Darby. Where does he go from here? He and Mox are going to fight for the championship. Sooner rather than later, maybe. It's possible. I could see them becoming tight on screen for a while because John would have a lot of respect for his character and Darby would feel the same toward Mox. But yeah, I see Darby Allin versus Mox. Now, whether or not Darby would get the title, I couldn't answer that. Douglas says, her good old JR, who's now in AEW talking on a sports radio show. Whoa, I lost your comment. There you are. I said AEW has no writers. That's why they have no good storylines. If they get the writers in their way, they could become bigger in WWE. Douglas, I'm not going to say you misquoted JR, but I have a hard time believing that JR said that they don't have good storylines in AEW because there's no storyline writers, because JR has been a proponent of no storyline writers. Honestly, you don't need storyline writers. You don't need a team of creative with 40 people in the room behind a great big table with Vince McMahon there saying, what you got, pal? You don't need that. You need proof. Watch Raw and SmackDown. There's your proof. You don't need a creative team. Listen, you didn't have a creative team in the past. You had bookers. You had a guy that booked, and he came up with situations and angles and had the wrestlers themselves involved in it to get the angles over. That's what AEW is doing. Again, not suggesting you misquoted him, but I would have to hear that to believe it. It's just what I'm saying. Hello, Danny. What's going on? Richard says, do I think AJ, you're talking about coming back to WWE? I mean, again, never say never, but I don't see it, in my opinion. In my opinion. David, that makes sense. That makes sense. I missed that table of three. That makes perfect sense. That music is perfect for James Storm. Oh, my God, it's so perfect for him. Honestly, I never thought it fit AJ, if I'm being honest with you. Samuel says, what's up with Dominic? Is he getting ready to make his... I don't know, dude. They're keeping that under wraps. I'm not sure what the deal is right now with that. I would not be surprised. I don't know how good he is. We haven't really seen how good he is. I guess we'll all find out together, right? He's got a long way to go, and he's got a lot to live up to. And I don't know if he sees that. And, we hear that all the time about second, third generation wrestlers. Well, they have a big shadow they have to step out of. And you think, it's lip service. I hear this all the time. Do they really care? Dude, it matters. The question is, how much will it matter to him as opposed to other guys that came before him? I can't answer that. Only he can answer that, dude. I can't tell you for sure what he is and isn't feeling in terms of, trying to follow his old man, who is one of the most popular WWE superstars of all time, a true innovator in the business. Let's see. Would you be interested in seeing Ciampa versus Orton only every day? Are you kidding, Mark? Yeah. You take real life heat, you put it on TV. That's what you do. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's hot garbage. I think it would work out in this instance because both guys are professionals. We'd have to see, though. Ciampa's days are numbered as an active pro wrestler. I don't say that because I want to see him retire. I don't say that because I want to see him get injured. But, buddy, when you talk about a history of injuries, Ciampa is being held together by, silly string and duct tape at this point. He looks phenomenal. He's got a passion for this, and I love to watch him. And I don't want to see anything bad ever happen to him, ever. Get that out of the way, okay? I dig him a lot. I really do. But, again, he's being held together by duct tape, silly string, and toothpicks. Because he's beaten up, dude. He's got a history of injury. You know what I mean? One of the famous sayings about Triple H was that his knees were cottage cheese. It's the truth. This is not an easy business to be in. And even if you never hurt anyone during your run or never got hurt in the ring by anyone intentionally, you're going to have injuries. You're going to feel it. The Rock got out when he did. And The Rock can walk around normally. A lot of other guys stayed in a lot longer than he did, and some about the same amount of time as he did, or maybe even shorter amount of time as he did, and can't walk straight, can't walk without hunching over. They wake up every single day in pain. That's why you don't. One of the questions that if you're in the business that you ask another veteran, that you ask a veteran if you interview them, how you feeling? And if they're being honest, they'll be honest. They'll say, well, some days are better than others. Some days I manage it okay. Other days it kind of hurts because the pain is always there. You know what I mean? And again, you have good days, you have bad days like you do in any walk of life. If you have a strenuous job where you're on your feet all day, factory work, working outside, loggers, stuff like that, dude, you're going to feel that eventually. And if you do it long enough, you may spend the rest of your life dealing with the after effects of that life. And that's what a lot of these guys end up doing. So, yeah, it's a big deal, man, for sure. Champ is one of them. And like I said, hopefully we get to see him in Orton for sure. What about Edge? Chris, are we talking about in terms of injuries and whatnot? I like Edge. Do I think he should have come back? Not for me to say. People wanted him to come back. People came out and said, well, you shouldn't come back, Edge. Think you're family. I said it on this show. I'll say it again today. Takes a lot of guts to sit there and talk to a man you don't know and tell him what's good for him and his family. None of your business. You know what I mean? None of your business. So I would never want to be that guy. In my personal opinion, did I care to see him come back? I didn't care to see him come back. Doesn't mean I don't want to see him back. I didn't say that. But again, personal preference, I would have been okay if he'd stay retired. No disrespect. That's just how I feel. Christopher says, going to go miss the show next week, going to Vegas to see my son. Christopher, that's a great reason to miss the show, man. Have a safe trip out there next week. Danny says, never been a fan of Omega. Well, guess what? Omega's not a fan of yours, Danny. Just kidding. Relax. He's a huge fan. Orange Cassidy fights Cody Rhodes for TNT title. And, dude, he may win that title. Honestly, he could. Let's see. Why do 80s matches look more fluent than today's product? Oh, James. My friend. We only got 30 minutes left. I don't have enough time. It's a difference in mindset, James. If I can sum this thing up as quickly as possible, if I can. It's a difference in mindset. Today's wrestlers, today's workers are not the workers of yesteryear, as they say, right? It's a difference in mindset. It's that trends come and go. They change. That's why you see teams like FTR and guys like Okada who are more old school, who believe in taking your time and slowing down the pace and telling the story, okay? And there's other guys who want to go slam bang 200 miles an hour, almost kill each other to tell the flash bang story. You see what I'm saying? It's like, Michael Bay directing a pro wrestling match. A lot of sizzle, very little steak, okay? Kind of the same idea. But that was the style in the 80s. And a lot of guys today and gals today, to be fair, a lot of them today say, that style wouldn't work today, okay? Fans want to see the flash bang. Is that true? Or is it because you've conditioned them to want and expect the flash bang? I submit you can run an old school pro wrestling promotion in 2020 and do just fine and do good business. I still maintain that to this day. I don't think you need all the superfluous stuff. Is that gospel truth or is that Tom's take? That's Tom's take, baby. Shane says, I wish Robert Roode would leave WWE and go to AEW. WWE should have him on Raw, fighting with McIntyre for the title. Shane, you can, what's that old saying, brother? Wish in one hand and crap in the next and see which one gets filled first, right? Not to discount what you're saying, but I agree. Mike says it's a shame WWE has done to their tag team division, but they're handling the Street Profits Viking race has been criminal. Oh my God, you're so right. Completely right. So Danny says hopefully Lana gets out of the business. Hey, look, I'm not saying that about anybody, man. That's not me. Lana's not my biggest fan. She blocked me on Twitter years ago. I don't really care. I know that her and her family have been dealing with COVID situation. Hopefully everyone gets better soon. All the best to them. I don't dislike her personally because I don't know her personally. For all I know, she's salt of the earth. But professionally speaking, what her character is and does, or the little that her character is and does, I'm not a fan. Never have been. But again, that's just me, dude. That's just me. All right, so yeah, we are 30 minutes in. You believe that stuff? Let's talk a little bit about NXT. I'm watching the replay right now. What'd you guys think? Keith Lee defended the NXT Championship and the NXT North American Championship against your boy, Dominik Dijakovic. Still the dumbest name ever. God's sake. It's Dijak. It's Dijak, for God's sake, dude. Really? Awful. Saying. Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest with a slobber knocker. Man, I enjoyed that match. That may have been my favorite NXT match in a long time. I'm just being honest with you. But I'm in the bag for Cameron Grimes, dude. I can't help it. I just am. And Io Shirai, excuse me if I get my words out. Io Shirai successfully defended the NXT Women's Championship in the main event against Tegan Nox. What did you guys think of the show? I've had several people say that they thought this week's NXT was better than AEW. I have to concur that overall, I wasn't crazy about the match between Shotzi Blackheart and India Williams. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to get her name wrong. Not a fan of that match. It was really, really hard to watch, if I'm being straight with you. Not a fan. But, yeah, man, I thought overall the show as a whole was better than AEW. Not that I make them competing in my head or anything like that, because I don't really care about that stuff like a lot of you guys don't care. But, yeah, so. Ray says, where was the King Adam? Man, Ray is a huge Adam Cole fan, man. No doubt about it. All right, look, so I don't think you put Cole on TV this week. I just don't think it would be a good idea. And they shouldn't. This had to have been Keith's night. There's something to be said for laying out. Just lay out. Do you know what I mean? Just lay out, give the new champ a chance to get out there and flex a little bit, cut his thank you promos, and have a good match and move on to the next challenger. Evidently, they're leaving Adam Cole out of this. Doesn't mean he and the Undisputed Era are Splitsville. Perhaps. Maybe they're going to split the team up or they're going to take the whole faction somewhere else. Could possibly be. But you got to remember this. If they do that, that's 4 guys. This isn't the Shield, a trio of guys who weren't really connected as a trio in NXT. This is 4 guys who are the top faction in NXT ever of all time. And you're going to take those 4 cats and put them on another brand, on a main roster brand. Dude, that's big news, man. That's a big move. And, you know, I've got as much confidence in the main roster of WWE as I have in that pinky ever getting straight again. It's not going to. I broke it years ago. It's never getting straight again. I'm just saying, dude, blah. Sound effect time on the main event. I got no faith in that company when it comes to main roster brands. I just don't, dude. Kev says, what would you think if Tessa Blanchard, come get a WWE? Okay. I think you're asking, what do I think Tessa Blanchard come? I think she'll end up there. It's only a matter of time. I said in the past when asked that I don't know if WWE would touch her, considering the baggage that she has. But I said that about every company. But I also followed it up with, I would not be surprised to see her in any company she ends up in. Maybe a little bit more surprised to see her in AEW if I'm being straight. But man, they believe in giving people a second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth chance in WWE. That's for sure. No doubt about it. Mark says, are they done with the dream? It certainly looks that way. Talk about a guy, and you know, part of the critique of Dream since COVID started is that his character, his gimmick is more suited to a live audience. I can't argue that, dude, at all. I can't argue that because it is more suited to a live audience, if I'm being honest with you. Is it his fault? Absolutely not. How's he handled it? As best as he could, I suppose. But, you know, Dream has gotten into trouble and saying stuff and things like that. I mean, oy vey, dude. Shot himself in the foot, I believe, on more than one occasion. We'll see how it goes. It'd be a shame to see that he's done and out eventually. That'd be a shame. Because remember this, he would not be the Velveteen Dream in AEW. He'd be somebody else. They'd have to rename him something. They'd have to use a sound-alike name or something. They call him the Purple something, I guess. I don't know. But it wouldn't be exactly the same character. Victor says NXT was awesome. Way to leave a cliffhanger. I agree with you. Let's see. Tessa debuts at the Rumble, James says. Perhaps. Timothy says, I'm hearing Adam Cole is heading to Raw. Very well could be. Sandy says, we need Eric Bugenhagen in NXT. He is in NXT. He's already there. He's just not on TV. He's in the crowd most of the time. Remember the night they put him in NXT and he came out there with that screeching and playing air guitar? And I said, you know what? This should be the worst thing I've ever seen, but God, I love it. I mean, I loved it. You want to know why? Because it was different. It's comedy. It's okay to have a little bit of comedy in your pro wrestling, man. It's okay to have a little bit of comedy. You can always transition later. Look at Colt Cabana. You can always transition later. I don't want a show full of yucks because if I do, then I got no drama. If I got no drama, I can't get personally invested. If I can't get personally invested, I don't care about your wrestling show. Just me. But it's okay to have a little bit of comedy, dude. I'm okay with that. Brad, here we go, Brad. That's the way I feel about WWE. My opinion, boring. Been watching probably too long. Now it's AEW, New Japan, Pro Wrestling, and Impact. I respect where you're coming from, man. I respect where you're coming from for sure. So, and I can understand where you're coming from. Don't think for a minute that I can't. Fight for the Fallen results. We covered these Wednesday night after the show went off the air. I've been going live on Wednesday nights for a few weeks now. It's just fun. I just do a little something for about 30 minutes. 30 minutes to cram a 2-hour show in to tell you what happened, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the good, the bad, and ugly, the whole thing, which is what we did this past Wednesday night. I liked the show. I didn't love the show. In my humble opinion, it was the weakest show to this point. However, it did top NXT in the ratings, but they had more to advertise. They had more going on in terms of what they had already announced and things like that. NXT and WWE as well, for the main roster brands, does this thing where they wait to the very last minute. I don't understand why, but they always do it. And it's just, you would have to think that with, again, 30 creative guys in the same room, come on, you can't come up with something that doesn't happen 5 minutes before the show goes on the air. You know what that tells me? It's hot shot booking, baby. They're doing their best to beat up on AEW. That's the whole point of this thing. You guys know that. It's the whole point of this. It's not about making NXT better. That stopped being the case when Dynamite went to Wednesdays or debuted. Stopped being about that. It was no longer about that. The whole dynamic of NXT changed from that point forward. You can disagree. It's totally fine, man. Totally your prerogative. That's how I see it. This entire thing changed when AEW Dynamite debuted and NXT moved to battle it head-to-head. In my opinion, everything changed from that point on. It's a different show now. Douglas says Shayna Baszler is back on Raw. She's going to win Raw Champion. Maybe if they don't make her continue to look like a fool because she said some dumb stuff. We'll see. Ray, we talked about this last week or Wednesday night, I think. Well, AEW have women's tag team belts. They got to get that. They got to get that roster bolstered up just a little bit. Orlando, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show. I could definitely see AEW having women's tag team championships. Why not? But again, got to get that roster up, man, and got to get the women who are there. They've got several women who are doing jobs, and that's perfectly fine. Men do jobs all the time. I have no problem with that at all, dude. But if you're going to have a viable, legitimate women's division, you need some well-rounded performers. You need more than 2 or 3. You need several. I mean, look how many men fill the men's division. Now compare that to the number of women that fill the women's divisions. Nowhere close. Now I get it. On a 6-match card, 2 of the matches are women's matches, probably, maybe 1. The other 4 to 5 are the men's matches. So that right there, if it's singles matches and you got 5, that's 10 guys. Make it triple threats, your numbers go up. Make it tag teams, your numbers go up. Of course, the men's division, 9 times out of 10, is going to be bigger unless it's an all-female pro wrestling company. See what I mean? But at the same time, I still maintain that the women's division AEW needs to be much bigger than what it is. Or they take the talents they already have and cultivate those talents, build them up, hype them up, and make you care about them. If you don't care, then why would anyone care, right? Timothy says Keith Lee go to SmackDown versus Roman. We'll see. Sal says, I heard AJ Styles wants to wrestle Roman Reigns. He's already worked Roman. A few times. A couple times at least, right? Pretty sure. You think AEW, Chris says, has a chance to get Ronda Rousey? They could, I suppose, but no, I think if and when Ronda comes back, it'll be WWE. And just my opinion. Ronda brings eyes, and she brings ratings, and she brings money to the table. Is it enough to, and I was going to say, is it enough to, you can't say, is it enough to turn the tide for AEW because there's no tide turning with that company. Again, they're not on WWE's level from a global standpoint. They're just not, they're not going to be anytime soon, if ever. I'm just saying, maybe I'll be wrong in 10 years. We'll be talking about AEW, not WWE. I don't have any idea. Okay, we'll see what the future holds. But could she move and move the needle enough to make a difference for them in that company, for revenue to go up, for the ratings to go up, for them to clear 1 million viewers on Wednesday nights? I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know that she cares about it. Now, listen, don't get too fooled by the stuff that she rants about online. Maybe she does feel the way she says she does about pro wrestling fans and the game itself and all that stuff. Maybe she does. Or maybe it's all the work and we get worked all the time by people who we believe can't work us. Hard to say unless you're Ronda herself or are in her inner circle. So, Chris asked the $1 million question, will Sasha turn on her best friend and fight for the title? We've been asking that question for a long time. I don't know, man. We'll see. Shannon says AEW's win division will get there. I agree. Christopher says AEW needs Kelly Klein. We've agreed on that many, many times before. What's up, Joshua? Welcome back to the show. We got people checking in at 12:46. Come on, guys. Get with the program here, baby. We go live at 12, baby. Now, listen, if you're listening after the fact, you listen anytime you want to. So, James says, do you think the Big Show is retiring anytime soon? Do you see Kane returning tonight on SmackDown versus Alexa as Alexa Bliss mystery guest, or is it someone different? Whew. I think Show's happy doing what he's doing. One match at a time. Show should go out on his own terms. We said that about Rick. We said that about Taker. We said that about Shawn, about Steamboat. But if you really respect the guy for what he's contributed, you kind of have to say that, don't you? I mean, I respect Big Show a lot. And I respect what he's done in the business. And I think that he should go out on his time. I don't think anyone should force him to go out. Saying. Sandy says, I set my clock to your show. Well, Sandy, you're awesome. You rock, my friend. Well, Chris says, now you're grasping the straws there, brother. Will Bay go to AEW? No time soon, if ever. Bayley grew up a WWE fan. She wanted nothing more on this planet than to be a WWE superstar. She is one. She has no reason to ever leave that company. I think something big would have to happen in terms of, did you hear about what happened to Bayley? No, I just don't see it. Am I wrong? Will I be wrong? Maybe. Maybe she'll be there this time next year, but AEW World Women's Champion. Who knows? She won't be Bayley. She'll be somebody else, right? Never say never, so I'm not going to say never. But, I don't know. Any more comments on AEW? Anything Timothy says, what's next for Brian Cage? Looks like Darby Allin, perhaps, which is a match that Cage should win handily. I don't think he's done with Mox. I think that if you make this thing a triple threat, Mox could drop the title to Cage because of Darby Allin, and then that gives Mox something to do while Cage goes off and is AEW World Champion. Just my take. And plus, you're protecting Mox in that triple threat as well. You're not necessarily making him lose. And if it's triple threat rules, then Allin could get pinned and Mox not get pinned to lose a championship. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Sandy says, when will Otis cash in? Tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Orlando, when do you think Brock Lesnar will return? Brother, Orlando, let me tell you something. I could be that hater right now and say, if it's up to me, he'd never come back. You hear that voice? I live in North Carolina. We all have that voice. We just don't use it all the time. I use it to make fun of the people around me. You know why? Because it's fun, baby. I have no issue with Brock. I never have. I probably never will, depending, right? People get really upset at that dude. People get upset at the wrong dude. Vince is the dude they should be upset about because he's the dude, man. Okay? Vince is the dude. All right? Not Brock. Get it? Brock is the tank. The tank doesn't fire on its own. There has to be someone driving the tank and pressing the buttons. And that's what Vince does with Brock Lesnar. When will we see him back? In my opinion, I think Brock is wasted in the COVID era, but that's just my take. I think a lot of guys are wasted in the COVID era. However, having said all that, we are stuck with COVID. my friends, it's not going away anytime soon. I wish I was wrong. I'm not. I wish there would be a cure tomorrow. I don't know if there will be. I don't know, dude. But in my opinion, you save that guy. And let's face it, Brock doesn't need any money. He probably hasn't needed money in years. Brock could probably never work again and be just fine, and his grandkids would have plenty of money. I'm just saying, dude. But for all I know, I'm wrong. He'll show up tonight. I don't know. Be interesting to see what happens. Or he'll show up Sunday. You know what I mean? I'm sorry I don't have a definitive answer for you, man. Just my take. Let's see. Cordell. Mox says, Mox seems like he's more happy. He says, oh, brother, from your lips to the ears of God, my friend. He's overjoyed. He's Stevie Wonder song, man. That's what he is. He is. You know why? Because he doesn't have morons on his shoulder telling him what to say. Hey, you should totally say this. Nah. The best of the best don't need direction. They don't need someone telling them what to do. Mox is good. He never needed that to begin with. After he adapted his style, learned what it was like to work the hard cam, learned what it was like to work on a worldwide stage and became good at it, let him alone. Let him work. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing in AEW. I think he's great in AEW. I really do. Can you explain what the point was of bringing the FTW title back after being attached to ECW? Robbie, no. I can't. Don't worry about the ECW attachment. This was a Taz thing. This was not introduced by Paul Heyman. This was a Taz idea. From the very beginning, this was Taz's move, his idea. Pretty sure. But it was his belt for sure. His championship, his move. He just brought it to AEW. Can I answer why? I still think that maybe the belt should have been saved till this past Wednesday night. He could have come out and said, look, it's not over, Mox, or whatever. Well, all right, so look. How about save it to this coming Wednesday night? How about that? That would have made more sense. But what's done is done. Can I explain it? Not really. It doesn't make much sense to me, like we've been saying for 2 weeks on here, but it is what it is. There's a follow-up point. Shannon says, whether you like him or not, Brock brings ratings, eyes to wrestling, and Vince knows that. Absolutely. And again, like you said, a lot of people don't like it. So let's wrap up the show today with a quick look at Extreme Rules, folks. You all want to do that? I know I do. Sorry. All right, here we go. Apollo Crews versus MVP, United States Championship on the line. Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, eye for an eye match. You guys want to talk about it? You still want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. One of the dumbest gimmicks I've ever seen. One of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard of. One of the lamest things ever that I've seen, well, in a long time, but especially in that company. You can't pay this off. You can't pay this off. There's no payoff here. There's no payoff. You hear me? It's going to be a cinematic match. They've already probably taped it, I would say. What do? Do they have a Hollywood special effects guy that's worked on horror films come in and look like Seth's eyes dangling out of his head? My God in heaven. Okay? Are you kidding right now? Absolute terrible. And 2 words, hot garbage. All right? Awful idea. It makes me not care about this match in the slightest. I'm just calling like I see it. It's god awful. You guys know that too, right? Does anyone think it's a good idea? Does anyone think it's a good idea? James says, think WWE does bring back fans that should test everyone before they enter the building. There's no way to test anybody before they come to the building, James, because test results take time to get back. If you're talking about temperature scans, think about this. If and when the time comes that a pro wrestling company in this country has fans in attendance, it will be Vince McMahon's company. I think we can all agree on that, yes? But is it possible? What are the logistics of having people at the front doors of these arenas with temperature? And here's the thing. If it's over 99 and you are told you can't get in, what happens then? Do you raise a ruckus? This isn't 20 people at a local pro wrestling show. This could be 5,000 people or more. How do you do that? How do How do you control that? How do you monitor that? Is it possible? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I like the idea. I don't know how you regulate that. How do you get on top of that and make that thing work where people around you are not, that there's no chance of you catching something from them? I don't know. And masks. Wear your mask, people, for God's sake. For God's sake, what are you doing? You can't wear a mask. Are you kidding me? Come on. That's all I'll say about that. Shane says MVP's new title looks awesome. Yeah. So Michael says, as dumb as it sounds, I'm interested to see how it works. It's kind of like, are you talking about the match between Seth and Ray? Or are you talking about the letting fans in? Either way, it's going to be interesting, right? Bayley versus Nikki Cross, SmackDown Women's Championship match. Asuka versus Sasha Banks, Raw Women's Championship match. Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. Yay! Sorry. For the WWE Championship match. And then you got Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. Swamp fight. It's a swamp fight. It's not a song. Should be. Swamp fight. Well, maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know what it's. By the way, this is non-title. So it makes you care about it even less, right? Here's what WWE.com says. Wyatt ended his harrowing silence by resurrecting the dead from the Firefly Funhouse and shocked Universal Champion. After a week of soul-searching, Strowman responded adamantly and promised to drag Wyatt into the swamp. They capitalized the word swamp, by the way. It's good stuff. To let the alligators finish the job. As Wyatt's maniacal laugh echoed through the WWE Performance Center, Strowman knew the die had been cast for the Wyatt swamp fight. In all caps. Each word capitalized. Yikes. We'll see. Are you going to watch it? Maybe that's the better question. Are you going to watch it? Are you going to? Because I'm recording another podcast Sunday evening, so if I watch it, it may be on playback. If I'm being honest with you. Jim says, swamp non-title. Well, see, here's the thing, Jim. You can't really, keeping the guy's elbows down in the marsh may prove to be tricky. Can't even say it. Can't even say it without having a chuckle at their expense. This is terrible. Terrible. Have I mentioned terrible? I don't know, dude. Maybe we'll be changing our tune Sunday night after the match go. That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. This beats AJ versus Taker. Bravo, WWE. I don't know, dude. From a distance, it looks ridiculous. As I look at the one on Io Shirai, I'm in love with her. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound like a sexist pig, but holy cow, dude. And plus, she gets it done in the ring. Yikes. More importantly, right? Shannon says this may be the first pay-per-view in the COVID era that I may not watch. Shannon, I gotta be honest with you. There's a few I've missed. Just saying. Nah. Yeah, so we'll see. By the way, I've got a Patreon up. You guys have been watching the bottom. There it goes. Exclusive content, including watch-alongs. What I'm asking is yeah, no, it's not going to break the bank. I promise you that. But if you sign up, I think, for the top tier package, man, we do a live watch along. What we do is like watch a live pay-per-view, and we just choose we go on Facebook, right? Not on Wrestling Rumors. This be independent Wrestling Rumors, folks. We go on Facebook on a closed channel by invitation only, and whoever signed up we would watch, whether it's AEW or New Japan. Well, New Japan would be like 3 a.m. That'd be tough. But whether it's WWE or AEW, right? And watch a live pay-per-view. Just hang out and just kind of talk through the whole thing. Take your comments. Give you my take as the show goes on. Be fun, man. We can have like Cool Ranch Doritos together. Be awesome. So there you go. What more could you ask for? Michael says, think the pay-per-view is either going to be great or like a train wreck, or like a great train wreck. My faith in that company has dwindled. It's never, listen, I'm going to tell you guys this. We talked about this a whole bunch, but I think sometimes it bears repeating. I'm going to repeat this for you in case you're not familiar with me. You don't know exactly who I am or haven't watched the show in a while, or maybe have never watched the show before. I did not grow up a WWE fan. I grew up a Jim Crockett Promotions fan. To me, pro wrestling was not always WWE and Vince McMahon. It was not, and it's not now, okay? And that's just how it is. Now, for a lot of you guys out there, maybe WWE was your pro wrestling company from the time you're this big to the time you're an adult now. And if it was and is, go with God, perfectly fine. But I don't look at this company through the prism of, that's my childhood right there. Hogan slamming entrees, what made me a fan? That's not me. No disrespect, folks. Please don't take it wrong. That's not me. It was just another thing that happened. Was it important? Of course it was. WrestleMania was huge. Hogan slamming Andre was huge, but Andre had been slammed before. You see what I'm saying? It happened plenty before. I'm just, and I knew that because I was a fan of the territories. Okay. So to me, I don't view WWE through this prism like I would view G.I. Joe and the Transformers and, Thundercats even. Like, that's my childhood. That's the stuff I grew up watching. I love those shows. Some of them don't hold up today. Like Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers cartoons, they hold a special place in my heart. WWE doesn't hold a special place in my heart. Now, I don't bash the company because, hey, it's fun. I bash it because at times because I'm just being honest. It's just my honest opinion on it. I don't hold it in such high regard that I can't criticize it. I just don't. You know what I mean? So for anybody that says, well, all he does is, but okay, dude, I'm not going to be able to change your mind. Obviously, I've been accused of that many times in the past. It's totally fine, dude. Go with God. Whatever you want to believe is what you want to believe, and I can't change your mind, right? But that's why I don't look at this company as being, well, listen, they may have had a tough outing, but we got to still support them. You don't have to support anybody. Doesn't mean I want to see them shut down. I just want the product to get better because they're capable of great things. They've done great things, for sure. They don't do so many great things now. But again, that's just me being honest, okay? Thank you, Sandy, for that. Michael says, I grew up in the territory of the best of times. I totally agree with you. Shane says, WWE does not hold account, but what does? The characters, the storylines, the action. Shannon says, WCW was what I watched. Shannon, you are younger than me, my dear. So I know you came along just after the fact. I respect that. I mean, WCW in its infancy was still, for all intents and purposes, the NWA vibe. It still had that vibe to it. Now, as it progressed or regressed, you could say, right, it changed. But in the beginning, it was still NWA-centric. Heard rumor that Shane McMahon maybe we're bringing back WCW. Douglas, I have 2 words to say to that. The first one's hot. The second one is garbage, okay? I don't ever want to see that company come back. There's a reason why in arenas all over the world, you don't hear fans chanting WCW. You want to know why? Because no one cares. That company's better off dead. No disrespect to anyone that worked there, applied their craft there. God, whatever, okay? But I'm not feeling it. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, if I'm being honest with you. Plus, how do you even bring it back now anyway? You'd have to instill a whole new roster. You know what I mean? You'd be taking WWE guys that you already know and saying, now you're WCW guys. They tried this before and it was an unmitigated failure. I don't think it's a good idea. Now, Douglas, are you wrong? Didn't say that. I would put nothing past this company, dude. They could totally do it. Would it work? Totally not. Just my take, man. Just my take. Israel, like the Christmas song, I love saying it that way. What's WWE going to do with the Evolve talent? This is a big topic for me that I can't tackle at the end of the show because I did enjoy the Evolve product. I did think they had a good company going. The boy and I had seen a couple of their shows live, and I enjoyed the show. I used to watch them online as well, follow their social media and stuff. Dude, I enjoyed it. I want to see the talent in that company treated right and handled correctly and given a fair shake. Is any of that going to happen? Instead of baby, look at the track record. You can't expect anyone to get a fair shake in that company because of why? Their track record. They've done this kind of thing before and dropped it on its posterior. I'm just calling like I see it, man. It doesn't always work out, dude. Do I want to see them succeed? Absolutely. Yeah, I want to see them succeed. I want to see everyone on that roster get a fair shot. Dude, they got guys that have been there 10 years plus aren't getting a fair shot, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Think about that for a minute. We're going to wrap it up here, folks. Hit me with a couple more. Sandy says, we need a hot garbage t-shirt. Well, Sandy, we need to get on that for sure. Ron says, Attitude Era really got me hooked, but I always watch. There you go. Melissa, what's up? Any information on when Roman Reigns returns? No, ma'am, not as of yet. I would think if you're Roman, you're probably pretty happy. I'm sure. I'm not saying this. I would imagine the guy probably has a gym in his house. I would guess he's probably staying in shape, enjoying his family time, enjoying his new baby. Life has got to be good for Roman Reigns right now. At least I hope it is. Honestly, I never wish the guy ill will at all. I still don't. Why would I? If he's better for where he is because of his health, let him stay out. Does it mean that you'll never see a promo from him again? No. Does it mean you'll never see him in WWE ring again? No. But dude, family comes first, man. Family comes first, as it should. Okay, as it should. Shane says if Jim Crockett would have been a better businessman, WWE don't exist right now. I'm sorry, Shane. I completely agree. Israel asks, are you still with HVW? Yes, sir, I am. Although HVW is in a state of flux right now. We are at a complete standstill. I don't know what the future holds. Gary and I have had several conversations back and forth for months now. I hope the ending outcome is a good one, but I don't know. I will see what happens. We'll see. Please stay tuned for that. Thank you for asking. Chris is a follow-up next HVW show. Brother, I couldn't tell you. We're still talking. Thanks, Sandy. Folks, thanks, Mark. I'm going to get out of here, man. I'm going to get on with the rest of my day. I'm doing another show. By the way, folks, before we split, hang on. Hold on. I am doing another podcast. I'm doing it with a good friend of mine. They won't be live. They're recorded. We've already got 4 episodes recorded. We're going to do number 5 today, number 6 Sunday. The show's not been released yet. I still don't have a title. I still got to put the music and the art together. But we don't just talk about pro wrestling. It's pro wrestling, music, movies, TV, comic books, all the above. I'm digging it. I love it. I want you guys to check it out. So here's my ask. When I start posting links, please download the shows. They're free of charge. I'm not asking for money. Nothing like that. I just want your hits, man. I want your feedback. I want you guys to tell me what you think. I want you guys to give me your honest to God feedback, and I hope you dig it. So, by the way, I'm having a blast recording these shows with my friend, dude. They're awesome so far, in my opinion. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate you, brother. But yeah, check out the show. I'll make it public as soon as we roll out with it. So there you go. All right, guys and gals, I'm getting out of here. Again, thanks again, man, for hanging out. I do very much appreciate your time. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for always hanging in there. Thanks for always being there. And I'm going to get out of here for now, man. We'll see you next week. Please, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. For God's sake, wear your mask. And I think we're going to get out of here for now. That's all we got for you. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.